Uh, what's up, doggy dogs? Doggy dog. Welcome back to the Smarmy Grin Podcast, October 5th, 2017, episode number 14. Wow, I finally got it right. I finally got the numbering of these episodes right. On tonight's podcast, I'll be talking about the aftermath of the Las Vegas shooting. I'm just going to touch on that just for a little bit, just to get my thoughts out there. And really don't want to spend too much time on that. It's just too sad. Not that I don't want to. It's just extremely sad. And after that, I want to touch on my personal dream that I had last night, October 4th. Kind of like a personal dream that I had, and I just want to get you your thoughts on this. So if you're listening to this, and after you're done listening to this, please leave some comments and let me know what are your thoughts about my dreams. I really do believe in dreams, and I believe that they have meanings. So I would love to get somebody's thoughts on that, like a dream analysis. And on the final segment, the vent segment, the moaning, the bitching, the vent. Tonight, I will be talking about only in Florida. So on the vent, this segment, I'm going to call it only in Florida. And you know where I'm going with that. So tonight's podcast, I'm going to keep it short, probably under 20 minutes. I always say that, I know, and I always overdo it. And it usually ends up being half an hour, so and so and so. But I will keep it short. So let's start the show. Let's get it going, doggy dogs. That's what I'm talking about. Turn that down. Yeah, turn it down. So there's a lot of things that have come out since the Las Vegas shooting. This scumbag that shot all these innocent people there apparently had a stash of ammo. He broke 2 windows in the suite. He apparently rented another adjacent suite or room, whatever you want to call it. And on top of his motive, as far as like shooting all these innocent people at this concert, he was also trying to blow up a jet fuel area or gas tank area at the adjacent airport, which is this guy just really wanted to commit mass murder. That's what it sounds like to me, and it looks like to me. So you have those stories that have come out, and it is extremely scary because they were saying that the news media is saying that he was scouting out 3 different locations. This is from what the media have said, what investigators have come out and told the media that the guy scouted out 3 other venues. I think one of them was in Chicago, and I forget the other 2, but it's extremely scary, folks. Like, you really don't know what's going to happen. You really have to be on your guard. You have to have all your eyes all around you. And you have to be vigilant wherever you are, because there's a lot of mentally ill people and sick people in our society. And what really sucks is that when the Pulse shooting happened here in Central Florida, which 48 people passed from that, but we were all thinking the same thing. We were all thinking, so when is the next one going to be? When is the next massacre going to be? So a lot of us are thinking this. When is the next one going to be? After this Las Vegas shooting, when's the next one going to be? So the only thing that we can do as citizens is just be vigilant and just let the cops, police officers know if we see something weird going on. But you can only do so much, and they can only do so much. So out of all this, the NRA and Speaker of the House, Ryan, they're supporting for Congress to put a ban on these bump stocks. So hopefully that'll pass, because at least that's something that they can do to keep the public safe in some ways. Granted, you're not going to be able to stop all these maniacs that are going to, because you know that this is going to happen again, unfortunately, because there's going to be a lot of copycat idiots. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope this is it, man, because this was extremely sad, especially when you start hearing and watching all the victims that lost their lives that particular night, and you start hearing their lives and what good people they were, and how much a lot of them loved, I would say most of them loved their families, their friends. And there was just, from all the stories that I've read and from everything that I watched, there was a lot of great people that lost their lives that night. A lot of good people. So when something like that happens and we lose good people in our society, it's a blow to all of us. It's a blow to us as a nation, and to their prospective communities also. So it's a shame that we have to lose good people with bright futures. And you know that in our society we have a lot of scumbags, and good people are few. So it's really sad that good people have to die in that type of tragedy from some maniac scumbag. So you have all these different stories and all these heroic stories from first responders and people that were in that concert that aided a lot of other people from getting out of that place, and also people who shielded themselves, who used their body as a shield to protect others, loved ones, or strangers. It's amazing what people did that night, and what they did just to keep others safe and give up their lives, just by doing that act. So it's extremely sad to hear all those stories and everything that's come out since. And what can you do, honestly? What can the government do? I still believe that the government should come out with some kind of law that makes it mandatory that people that have multiple weapons should take some kind of psychological evaluation. It's better to do something than not to do anything. So I still believe in psychological evaluation when it comes to gun owners owning that many guns like this maniac did. And I understand that there's a lot of gun collectors and enthusiasts, and I get that. And hey, listen, I'm all for the Second Amendment right. I believe in the Second Amendment right and the right to bear arms. So I don't have an issue with that, but I do have an issue of mentally ill people getting their hands on guns. At least if the government does something like this, it'll make it harder for them to get guns. But the counter argument is, well, you're not gonna be able to stop anybody from getting guns because they can get it in the black market, and that's well understood. But at least we're doing something, and we're going to be headed in the right direction as far as that's concerned. But I'm not calling to take people's guns away. I'm just calling to have stricter laws as far as owning guns. And what I mean by that is psychological evaluations, and that's all I'm calling for. But it's just a sad day for the nation, really. It's been a somber week. It's been a tough year for our country. It's especially these last couple of months. These hurricanes have hit our states and out in the Caribbean, and now you have this mass shooting. So I have to be honest with you, I can't wait till 2017 comes to an end. It's been too much all at once, in the period or a span of 2-3 months. So it's been extremely exhausting, I'm sure, for our country. So, and for me too, because you don't want to hear innocent people losing their lives like that in such a, oh my God, in such an awful act of terror, because that's what it was. It was a domestic terrorist act. So it was basically the victimization of our public by a domestic terrorist. So it's been a sad week for our country, and my thoughts and prayers are for everybody that's been affected by that shameful act, disgusting act. But my thoughts and prayers are with the victims, their families, and first responders, and the people in Vegas, Las Vegas, the citizens there. You guys were awesome. You came out, donated blood like we did here in Central Florida. We did the same thing after the Paul shooting. So the whole community there is coming around and coming together. So my thoughts and prayers are to Las Vegas and all that were affected by this act of violence. So I'll just stop there. I really don't want to talk too much about this because it's just been draining. Honestly, it's just absolutely draining. It's too much, extremely too much. So I'll move on, and for what I wanted to talk about, I'm hoping that you guys will give me some insights. I believe in dream analysis, so after my personal experience that I'm about to share with you guys, I hope that you guys can leave some comments down below in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are on the dream that I had. So I had a dream last night about the old place that I used to work at when I was a teenager. I worked there throughout my years as a teen. So I was there for a good 8 years. And I worked at this Spanish restaurant. The people that were in my dream were 4 people that I care about. One of those people is a good friend of mine. We're still good friends, and we've known each other for a long time. The other 3 people were people that I worked at the restaurant that I really cared about, and I haven't seen them in over, like 5 years. So I'm going to share my dream with you. So my dream started out with my friend and I. We'll call him Marty. So my friend and I, Marty. So my dream started out the 2 of us walking into the restaurant, but it was the back of the restaurant, the kitchen area. That's where all the workers used to come in and clock in. That's where a lot of friends of the owner used to come in just to talk to him, or the chef. So as you walk in through the back area, the first thing that you walk into is basically the kitchen, the stove on the left, the cutting board table in the middle, the walk-in cooler on the right, the dishwasher on the right, the fryers on the left. So you go through that kitchen area, and then your next station, your next room is the coffee station. That's where we kept the wine, the coffee station, and all these other, like another small cooler. So after you go through there, you go through the main lobby. You go to the main lobby where all the tables were basically staged. So my friend Marty and I, we walked through the kitchen, we walked through the coffee station, and nobody was there. We didn't see anybody there, which is kind of weird. My dream, I'm telling my friend, hey, wow, this is kind of weird, nobody here. So anyways, we walked to the main area towards the front of the restaurant where all the tables are located, and I see my old boss there, and we'll call him Manny. So I see him, and I'm excited to see him, so I yell out his name, Manny. Hey, how you doing, man? And he just gives me this look like he was upset at me, and I don't know why. Like he was upset, and he didn't want to talk to me. So I was like, okay, well, he kind of nodded and acknowledged me in that way, but I was like, okay, well, that's kind of strange. He doesn't want to talk to me. So I was like, I'll just leave him alone. Maybe he needs his space. So I walk to my left, and I see this older, this guy that had to be like 10 years younger than me. And I'm like, wow, this dude looks really familiar. And he looks at me, and I'm looking at him, and he asks me, hey, you don't recognize me, do you? I'm like, no, I don't recognize you. And he put his two hands together, kind of like a two-hand fist. And he's like, he puts them up above his head, and he's like, you remember this? And I was like, oh my God, yes. I was like, I remember. I was like, Junior. And that was Manny's son. And I was like, Junior, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. And the last time that I saw this kid, he was like 6 years old. So this is like over 20 years ago. So I was like, oh my God, like in my dream, I'm telling him, oh man, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in such a long time. And I'm like, wow, I was like, can't believe you're, this age now, and I'm this age. And so I began to ask him, I was like, hey, what's wrong with your dad? His dad is Manny. So what's wrong with your dad? How come he doesn't want to acknowledge me? How come he doesn't want to talk to me? He looks like he's mad at me. And he goes, yeah, he is mad at you. And I'm like, why is he mad at you? He's mad at you because when you quit, you never said goodbye to him. And I was like, what? What do you mean I never said goodbye to him? Of course I did. I put in my 2 weeks notice and I said goodbye. And he goes, no, you didn't say goodbye to him. And I was like, nah, that's not right. Like, that's not true. Like, I did. Listen, he goes, that's the reason why he's upset, because you didn't say goodbye. So I'm just like, oh man, I'm like dumbfounded there. And I'm kind of like, wow, that's kind of weird, because I did say goodbye to him. But I was like, all right, well, listen, it was good seeing you. And I looked at my friend, and I was like, I think we should go. And so I go, we need to go. So I told him, hey man, it's nice seeing you again. So as I'm walking out, I look at Manny, and Manny looks at me, and he kind of gave me like a smile. And so I just smiled back, and I said goodbye. And as I'm walking out towards the coffee station area, and then I'm walking into the kitchen area, I see my old cook and chef standing at the doorway, the back door of the kitchen. And I see him, and I'm just like extremely surprised that he's there, but also excited that I saw him. And he was wearing the same clothes that he used to wear, and the same hat that he used to wear. He used to wear it backwards and stuff. And let's call him Tommy. So I was like, I yelled out his name. I go, Tommy. But I yelled that out in an excited type of way, because in my dream I was really excited to see him. And when I yelled out his name, the only thing that I could see was his back. He had his back to me, so I couldn't see his face. And as he turned around in my dream, I'm like, oh man, he's turning around. And in my dream, I'm thinking, please don't be some like scary like entity or something like that. So when you turn around, I'm looking at this scary, and I was like, please don't do that. Don't scare me in my dream. So he turns around, and it's him. It's him as I remember him when I used to work with him when I was a kid, as a teenager. And so he looks at me, and he smiles, and he just walks out. And I'm like excited to see him. I'm so excited to see him. So he walks out. He walks outside, because there's an alley there. So he walks out of the restaurant towards the alley, and I'm trying to catch up with him. So when I finally get to the back door, and as I'm walking out myself, I'm looking all over the place. I'm looking around all over the alley, and I don't see him. I look to my left and look to my right, and he was gone, just like that, like a ghost, gone. And I looked at my friend Marty, and I go, oh man, like, I can't believe he just like disappeared like that. And that's when my dream ended. And what was really weird about that dream, it was the whole scene of that dream was blurry. Like talking to Manny and Junior and seeing the restaurant, being inside and seeing the restaurant from the inside. Everything in that restaurant was blurry. But when I saw Tommy, my old chef that I used to work with, who I cared for so much, who was a father figure to me, when I saw him, he was vivid. He was the only thing that was clear in my dream and vivid, and I can pinpoint and just say what he was wearing. His shirt was vivid. The pants that he was wearing, his hat that he was wearing, the glasses that he used to wear. It was him, and I was just taken back by that when I woke up. That's when I woke up from that dream, after he disappeared when he walked out. And that was so vivid that it kind of shook me up and it woke me up. And when I woke up, this was like early morning, October 4th. So when I woke up, I looked at my cell phone and I see the time, and it was like 1:45, and I'm looking at the date, and it's October 4th. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, October 4th. And that's the, October 4th is the anniversary of when Mom passed away. Mom passed away 5 years ago. So this dream happened to me early in the morning of October 4th. And I just, I believe in analyzing dreams and the meaning behind it. And I like hearing other people's perspective on it. So it just kind of shook me because I had this dream on my mom's anniversary. So it kind of just really shook me a little bit. And what shook me more was when I saw Tommy and seeing him so vivid, and not being able to really, what shook me was what Junior said, that I didn't say goodbye. But after analyzing the dream, Tommy passed away 4 years ago, and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to him. And I know it really kind of bothered me, and it was on my conscience for a long time. Not because I didn't want to, so I just didn't know where he was when he passed, or before he passed, so I couldn't get a hold of him. But it just it shook me that that was mentioned in my dream. Like, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, and when I saw him, I just yelled out in excitement and happiness, and then he disappeared. So maybe it was my way of saying goodbye to him and his way of saying goodbye to me. So it was very personal. And the last time that I saw him was 5 years ago. And he passed away 4 years ago. So he passed away a year after I saw him. And when he passed away, it really did bother me. And I thought about it for a long time. And I was like, man, like, I wish I would have said, goodbye to him. So I'm glad I had that dream with him. So I'm hoping that you guys will analyze my dreams and just leave some comments down below and let me know what you think. So that was the dream that I had on my mom's anniversary. And it was strange. And right after that, I went back to sleep. And I was just taken back about that whole situation, the whole dream. So on my final segment tonight, which I call The Vent, the moaning, the bitching, the vent, I'm going to give you guys a weird Florida story, and I'm going to call it Only in Florida, under my vent segment. So Only in Florida. You can search all these stories on Google, and if you go on Google and search for weird Florida, it'll basically fill it out for you, and the first thing you'll see is going to be weird Florida stories. So I am going to read a story for you guys from the Sun Sentinel that happened going back to the 4th, speaking of October 4th. And this happened here in Central Florida. The title of this story is called Man Accused of Swiping Woman's Bible at the Bus Stop. And it goes like this. So, a woman told the cops that as she sat and waited for a bus in Orange County, she dropped the Bible she had been reading. The man who was sitting next to her allegedly snatched the book from her hand as she reached for it. When the woman pleaded to return the book, the gentleman raised a little cane, which he basically slapped her hand away from him so she couldn't get to her book. And then this man, the woman tells her, "But that's my book, I need my book back." And he goes, "No, this is not your book because I wrote this book." And the lady just looked astonished and, what do you mean? This is my Bible. The man had told this lady that she wrote the book. So this man basically wrote the Bible. So quickly after that, the cops arrived. And they handled this man. But, so apparently when this lady woke up and got in the bus, she didn't know that she was going to meet the man that wrote the Bible. I'm telling you, only in Florida do things like this happen. I don't know why. What's the deal with our state and a lot of the weirdos we have here in our state? But this is absolutely ridiculous. So according to this gentleman, he wrote the Bible. And this is what he said to the lady after slapping her hand away as she was trying to get her Bible back. I don't think this lady ever woke up this morning thinking that she was going to meet the man that wrote the Bible. And this is absolutely, it's a funny story, but it's also such a weird story. But I'm not surprised because it is Florida. I do not know why we have so many weirdos here. It's a transient state. I get it. But it's just absolutely ridiculous. On a day-to-day basis, the things that you see here and the stories that you listen to and hear are just absolutely amazing. When you think that one story is not going to top the other, man, boy, were you wrong. When I heard the story over the radio earlier today, I busted out laughing. And then when I came home and read it on the Sun Sentinel, I busted out laughing even more. But the radio version was a lot funnier. So, this is absolutely crazy. That basically, this lady, and I don't want to bring God into this, but this lady, she didn't know that she was going to meet God inside this bus. The man who wrote the Bible. Oh my God, God forgive me. But, I mean, you got to find the humor in this. Because these are the people that live here in Florida. At least she has a funny story to tell, which she already did. But she has a funny story to tell for the rest of her life. But that's the story that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And I will be sharing more stories like this in the future. I'm going to look for more stories and I'm going to share these stories with you. And I'm just going to get my personal opinion on this. But I'm telling you, if you get on, I mean, we're talking about public transportation. Public transportation is always a great adventure and great entertainment. And if you love people watching, these are the best places to go as far as like public transport. But here in Florida, you're going to meet a lot of weirdos, man. A lot of interesting people. A lot of interesting people. And don't think this is just a New York, Chicago, or California thing, LA or whatever. This also happens here in Florida, and it happens all over the state. So you'll definitely meet a lot of, if you're a tourist, not that I'm recommending this, but if you want an adventure besides going to the theme parks, then just get on one of our local public transport buses here, and you'll have a great time, sarcastically speaking. So anyways, that's the story that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I'm keeping this short because I'm getting tired and it's getting late. But thank you for listening to the Smarmy Grin Podcast, episode number 14. And thanks for giving me a chance again. And I hope that I entertained you guys tonight, as I did the previous night and the episodes before. But anyways, thank you for listening. Have an awesome night, and I will talk to you guys on episode number 15 on the Smarmy Grin Podcast. All right, guys, I'll see y'all later. See ya!